Hello everyone, Floppy Waffle 69 here, and welcome to today's video. Today we are doing a full battle report of the USS Salem. This is a game I had the other night, and I figured it was such a good game that I might as well share it with you all and talk a little bit about her and talk about the ship in itself. These battle report videos are more or less me reviewing a certain battle that takes place in a certain said ship, and then just talking about either tactics or a little bit about the ship and just summarizing it and whatnot. These are not full-on analysis videos where we kind of like delve deep, look at the armor scheme, talk about the ship, that kind of stuff. This is just more or less reviewing the game, talking a little about the ship to present you guys some entertainment when you're laying in bed or taking a shit. That's basically what it's basically what we're doing here. So, anyways, USS Salem. What do you need to know about the USS Salem? Well, this ship is available for coal. I believe the price did go up with this recent update with the whole balance, like to Research Bureau steel and coal ships, give or take, depending on its tier, nor no longer based upon the like class, like cruiser, destroyer, battleship, etc. So you can get this ship for coal, which I 100% think is worth it. Though I don't think this should be one of the first coal ships you get, and that's solely coming from someone that his favorite ship in the game is USS Des Moines, tier 10. Just because this ship, if you're expecting to hop in here and get Des Moines level results in your Salem, probably not going to happen because there is some positioning and map awareness that needs to be learned, and just overall cruiser knowledge that needs to be learned and understood before you can just hop right in here and get some good damage results. This ship can be a little bit tricky at first to play, then once you get this down, you really start getting the hang of how to play this ship and yada 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 and so and so. Definitely highly recommend grinding down the Des Moines line for obvious reasons, but even more so before you end up picking up the Salem, just because it'll teach you some basic stuff going down from the Omaha to then what the Pensy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Kind of learning how that heavy American AP works. And speaking about the heavy American AP, we're going to get to that in a bit. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, we'll get there. So obviously, this is a Des Moines class cruiser. The USS Des Moines is the tier 10 in the American heavy cruiser line. And the Salem is the sister ship available for coal, like I already said. The main difference between the two that you need to understand actually lies in two things. One, the Salem actually takes an 8.5 kilometer radar rather than the Des Moines 10 kilometer radar. So this is a little bit shorter radar, and you're gonna have to learn how to basically. It's not as impactful. It's way impactful, like incredibly impactful, but it's not as easy to use, so to speak, whereas 10 kilometers is a little bit more comfortable for the Des Moines, whereas this thing doesn't have that. And especially because your concealment usually stays the same. I think full stealth rig is like what 10.7, 10.9, somewhere in that range. It's going to be hard to kind of close the distance and then radar the enemy DD. It's going to give it enough time to thus turn around and tuck tail and run. So you usually aren't going to catch a DD unaware, per se, usually. And I cannot air quote that enough because, again, we are playing a free-to-play, I guess, MMORPG game, action shooter, whatever you want to call it. So another difference lies in the consumables. Obviously, we saw that with the radar. The Salem does get a little longer duration, by the way. It's like 40 seconds, not 35. Again, the big change is the range with 8.5 to 10. But actually it comes in the repair party. The repair party for the Salem is improved. This is going and lasting about 20 seconds rather than 28, so it's a little bit shorter, but you are thus healing 40% capabilities of the ship, which is incredible. I think you're healing back. Yeah, this is basically a super heal. Like imagine like a Mino heal, not as good, but a little bit worse. Mino super heal on a Des Moines class cruiser is kind of what you're getting here. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that with the Des Moines, kind of good armor scheme, not bad with that 27mm nose, can shrug off 380mm guns. Obviously 406 can still go right through that. To be a little bit more aggressive. We can kind of be a little bit more aggressive and take our Des Moines into those harder areas and live to tell the tale, so to speak. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do here by, again, thus poking around the island here with my nose. This is pretty stereotypical Des Moines gameplay, just utilizing my front two turrets, but really relying on those 203 auto-loading 203mm guns. These things are incredible. They are the fastest firing heavy cruiser guns in the game. And you might as well make really good use of that. I think it's like standard or stock comes 5.5 seconds of reload time. And then obviously if you take the reload mod, which I take on my USS Salem, I'm getting that down to 4.8. Obviously, I don't run Halsey on my Salem. I run them on my Des Moines. That's just me, my personal belief about, not bouncing commanders in every other ship possible just to do like activate tryhard mode. That's just not who I am. I don't play the game that way. But if you want to do that, I totally understand that. That is your opinion and your prerogative. Um, but yeah, I obviously am going for more of a in-your-face sort of build rather than like the standard cruiser build. Usually with the standard cruiser build, you're seeing players take, concealment, superintendent, and all that kind of jazz. And I'm not doing that. I'm actually going more of like a hybrid lighthouse build. And I think the big reason is, and I have to double check, either I'm not taking the concealment captain skill, and then I'm taking the concealment module, or vice versa. I'm taking like the double rudder shift mod in that 5th slot, but I am taking concealment still on my commander. I don't really know which one it is per se, or maybe I'm not taking. Maybe I dropped both because my detection is 13.4, and I will go ahead and I showed the captain build earlier on in the game, so I'll make sure to make reference to that next time when I make a video that I understand what kind of fucking build I put on here. But basically, more or less, I'm trying to run either a hybrid or full lighthouse build on my Salem. In the 6th slot, this is always a discussion when you're trying to run a build like this. Do I run range mod or do I run reload? Personally, I want to take full use of that tier 4 commander skill that's going to allow me to get a little buff to my reload, rather than sitting at longer ranges and whatnot. I totally understand if that's your vibe. I still just think with the floatier shell arcs that the Des Moines class cruisers have, I don't really feel like it's worth it sitting back in the back there spamming AP or HE at 17, 18 kilometers and with a hope and a prayer, essentially, and a fingers crossed. That's just not how I want to play my Salem. But I think the Salem as a design, I think, is meant to be played not only more aggressively, but I think the go-to build on the Salem is actually more of a lighthouse build, to take full advantage of increasing your DPM even further than it already is, and then getting away kind of with that super heal capability to allow you to have more survivability in game and a little more longevity, I think, is the way to go. And again, making use of the American hard-hitting AP at longer ranges is just, I mean, it can possibly work. For me, I'd rather minimize and close that distance while getting my reload buffs while utilizing that heavy American armor piercing. Now, what is super heavy American armor piercing? Well, basically take it like this. You have heavier, I guess, 203 millimeter gun, heavier shell weight, and you're reckoning about 5,000 damage, which doesn't sound too impressive, but based upon your improved AP ricochet angles on this ship, which are between 60 to 68 degrees, which is incredible. That means you're going to be able to score more penetrations from sharper degrees and theoretically punch right into enemy cruiser citadels. And honestly, you can hit some battleship citadels too if you close the gap enough. I think like at a standard maximum range around 16, which 15.8 is the max range, you're still looking at 196 millimeters of penetration. But if you go ahead and close those distance into those brawling like scenarios around 5-4 kilometers, you're upping your pen to 378 millimeters of penetration, which again is not half bad. There are better cruiser guns that are going to penetrate more, but again, coupled with this American hard-hitting AP, it is definitely the ammunition choice, and you definitely get away with shooting AP more often, which is awesome. Pen damage is harder to heal back than HE is, and getting those raw penetration hits is going to benefit the enemy HP pool in regards of you benefiting from doing more damage. We want to do more damage, eliminate targets as fast as possible, and I cannot tell you the amount of times Battleship players, in their infinite wisdom, will go ahead and show you flat broadside because they're thinking, hey, I got to get all my guns out on target, and I'm going to go right through the Salem or Des Moines nose, and they usually don't. And even if they do, they don't kill me, but then they've exposed their flat broadside to my hard-hitting AP, and by the time they have another salvo up and running, I've already done 30, 40, 50,000, about 30, 40,000 AP damage or pen damage directly to their vessel, which is enough usually with the help of allies to go ahead and sink them. But here's a prime example of us making use of the aggressiveness of the Salem. Now, full on, the Awami can overmatch me. He has the 410 millimeter guns, can go right through my 27 millimeter nose. But because I have that heal, and I'm zigging and zagging while coming, I'm not just going in straight in an approach, it is enough to keep me in the fight and keep me still around half HP or a little bit less, which is what we want to do. Again, with proper damage control or damage party, I guess, approach, using that at the right specific times, not just blowing it on one fire, one flood, we're still allowed to stay in this fight because of our super kill and I guess our intelligence to know when to utilize that damage control party. What else is there to talk about the Salem, guys? Well, the anti-aircraft battery is not half bad. I know back in the day, old RTS CVs, it used to be way, way, way better as our defensive A fire consumable, which we have on the slot. We cannot slot hydroacoustic search, which is a massive downfall, by the way. Usually on my Des Moines, as a side note, I do end up taking the hydroacoustic search just because now with submarines in the game, and again with the aggressive play style, you know, knowing where the enemy torpedo threats are coming from, it does allow me a little bit of a more of a safety net in my back pocket there, rather than defensive AA. But in a game like this, when we're playing against a multiplayer who I guess is just more keen to throw his planes away. Again, it happens, you know, maybe he's learning the multi, I'm not really 100% sure. That defensive AA mixed with our AA commander skills have really worked in our favor and really been able to take it to the enemy aircraft carrier player here, which is always nice to obviously do, because nothing's more annoying than planes, infinite amount of planes coming your way, especially in a cruiser player. It's nice to actually be able to do something against aircraft, because sometimes you just feel so damn helpless because they keep mustering full squadrons, and you're like, oh my god, does it even matter how many planes I shoot down? Because we're already at the defensive AA expert, which again is incredible, thank god. I guess looks like our captain skills are working out in our favor, and good use of the AA defensive AA consumable. I guess good use of the defensive AA consumable. I do think in the second slot, though, I actually take the coal upgrade for the defensive AA fire. I think it's to keep it up, get it up sooner, and maybe it lasts longer. I'm not 100% sure. That's more of a meme than it is actually, you know, why I do it. But my initial thought process was, well, I can't take hydroacoustic search anyway, and the two other upgrades in that slot really aren't going to benefit my ship and playstyle that much. And given the fact that I can't swap out defensive AA anyways, to me it was kind of like a no-brainer. Like, I'll just go ahead and slot this. Because more often than not, when I get in aircraft carrier games, I would like to have my defensive AA fire up, because that's usually when I'm shooting down the majority of my aircraft. It's not just my normal AA aura or anything like that. So the Des Moines play style is definitely more high octane. But what I think makes this ship, along with the Des Moines and obviously with the Salem as well, so fun is it is just so in your face, and it's go, 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 go. Not only that, but you do have a lot of team utility with your radar. Obviously, the Salem bringing in a little bit less in regards of the radar department for team utility, but bringing in survivability, which again is increasing our team utility, which is nice. The Salem is, again, like I cannot stress enough, it is in your face, hurling, 9 203mm HE shells or AP shells down range, usually 6 though, for actually how people actually play the damn ship, every 5.5 or 4.8 seconds. Couple that with adrenaline rush, and then potentially if you're running Halsey on top of that, I mean, it's so fast. It's so fast. And to me, like, the Des Moines is peak ship design in this game. It is such a fun experience. It clearly has its downsides and its weaknesses. But I feel like if Wargaming just made more ships like this, not necessarily like this, but just the idea, the premise of ships that maybe things are more baked into the ship rather than a consumable or, you know, gimmick like an airstrike or something like that, I feel like they'd have much greater approval from their player base than with these all these gimmicks flying around lately and whatnot. And, you know, main battery reload booster this and an enhanced hydro and all this stuff. It's just like, get back to the roots of what makes the game really, really fun. And I think a lot of players will follow suit with that and have a lot of fun. So what else is there to talk about the Salem? I mean, I guess the last thing to really talk about, you know, is she worth it? Usually I save these opinion pieces for my analysis videos as I'm kind of delving deeper into the, you know, aspects and numbers of the ship rather than like the overall play style, but we do touch on that too. As you guys know, if you're new to my channel, if you've been around my channel for any amount of time, obviously I'm not that big. Clearly I'm on the smaller side, but I don't really like full-on recommending ships to players, especially when it comes in regards of like the armory for Steel Coal or Research Bureau ships. At the end of the day, you're gonna like what you like. I think the best thing I can do for you is show you what the ship can do consistently, you know, game in and game out. Like, this game is an awesome game. This is an incredible game, but you can theoretically do better. And then more often than not, you will do worse. It's the nature of the beast. Um, but showcasing what the ship can do and talk about her, I think is the best thing I could do for you. Sitting here and saying I recommend the Salem as a Des Moines main, as a cruiser main, to someone that is a battleship main or a destroyer main or someone who's dabbling in cruisers but they're playing more German cruisers, it's like that's not really going to do anything for you, just because they're completely different ships and they play completely differently, and let alone there's different classes involved as well. So I'm not going to sit there and ever recommend these ships to anybody. I think that at the end of the day, I'm just going to showcase what they can do, talk a bit about them, whether or not I like it, and that's really about it. I'm just not a big fan of people that go in and say, I would definitely pick this ship up. This ship's a no-brainer. This is a fun ship. I mean, yeah, and yeah, just especially because all these ships are theoretically free in game. You just get these ships by playing it. More so than I think taking that extra step and saying, well, would I recommend this ship in a premium ship, like like a USS Florida, for example, or ships you buy in the premium store? That's a little bit different. Again, just showcasing gameplay on it, I think is the best thing I can do for you. So, anyways, finally, wrapping up here on the video. Obviously, the aircraft carrier is going to be at fucking A1. This is pretty typical. So really, he's going to get away with bloody murder and live. But the last thing I want to talk about with the Salem is I think that the overall play style and like fun factor for the ship is super fun. The only difference is there is a bit of a learning curve with the heavy cruisers for the Americans, and I guess just heavy cruiser gameplay in general. This is a tier 10 cruiser, and I think that if sitting here and saying, oh, grab the ship before you even have a tier 10, I think it's just utter rubbish and stupid. Definitely try to grind. My one rule is try to grind to the equivalent tier of a ship that you're willing or want to go and purchase in the armory, premium store, anything like that. To me, that just makes the most amount of sense. If your highest is at tier 7, and I recommend the Salem, and you go ahead and get the Salem at tier 10, you're going to struggle, and it's not going to be fun for anybody. So, anyways, guys, here's the E rank in the USS Salem. It was an awesome, fun game, and I just want to share this while I talk a little bit about her in the background. Stay tuned to the channel. I will be releasing videos every now and then. Obviously, this is not my life. This is not my job, but I will do what I can to get you guys content to stay entertained. So anyways, thanks, guys. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.